started possibly because, due to a great friend of mine at school, who was on Grange Hill, which is a telly programme, and I was so jealous that she was on telly that I overheard her talking to her agent on the school phone, and I heard her name, and then I looked it up in the Yellow Pages, or the phone directory, and then phoned her up and said, I want to be an actress too. I was 13. So then I got the agent, and then I started going to auditions, and that's how I started. But it was through, I think I just wanted to pretend to be somebody else. But a lot of it was envy. I just wanted to be Carey. For some reason, I mean, I used to say that if we all wanted to be plumbers, maybe that's what, it was a lot to do with my peer group. We all wanted to act then. But eventually I realised, in fact, like anybody in any profession, you always think you're an imposter. But now I know that I've worked out why I act, and a lot of it is just because I want to be somebody else. I was very lucky because I had immediate breaks. Well, I had my first professional break when I was literally out of school. 18, I got Lady Jane, and then I got A Room with a View when I was a year later. A Room with a View was a hit. Now, you can't ever manufacture a hit. They'll either happen or they won't. At that point, I wanted to go to university and get a proper education for myself. It was my father who was much more practical, and he said, no, you've got a hit. That will never happen. That will necessarily might not ever happen. You have to capitalise on that. So carry on. You can go to university if you feel strongly about that later on in your life. Of course, you never will. So I just carried on, and I just carried on working. I didn't go to drama school. I went off and looked at drama schools. I was always inadequate. I always felt a great sense of inferiority, and I felt I had to either go to university and get brainy, or I had to go to drama school and learn how to act. But in the end, I just learned by doing it. And I'll say there's a lot to be said for learning to. I meet a lot of young people these days who are coming out of uni or even don't really know what to do at 18. I go, start working now. I think work experience is paramount, and just doing it, you learn a huge amount just by doing it. I think you have to be obviously compassionate. It's all about empathy and feeling other people's feelings. That is acting. Have an imagination, because all you're doing is being a big child and pretending and dressing up. And then you have to get on with people. You have to certainly know how to listen, because that's listening in a scene. If you're opposite a good person, that's all you have to do is listen properly. Not take yourself too seriously, have a huge sense of humour. I think practically, it's hard, because I think often actors who then get famous, you have to have a weird mix. You have to be very vulnerable when it comes to acting and be very emotional, but at the same time, when you're well known, you have to be very, have a strong armour and make sure that you don't believe too much about what other people think of you or say about you. You have to have a weird mix. And then also, ultimately, you're self-employed. You're going to have to work out if you're the kind of character who will suit that kind of free life, and have the discipline to deal with it, because it's not when you're working that's hard, it's when you're not working. And you've got to have a lot of self-discipline then. Not to take myself too seriously. Allow yourself to make mistakes. You can be bad. You can act badly. It's not going to kill anyone. Don't, punish yourself. Don't spend too much on yesterday. That was a good quote. Don't waste too much of today on yesterday. A lot of the time I spent so much time going, I was crap in that, and then I'd make myself worse. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're just pretending, possibly badly. You might act better, And a lot of the times you're so dependent on other people's talent or lack of talent. Filmmaking is definitely it's a group thing. And it's fascinating, and it's fun, and it's a privilege.